every Tuesday and Thursday, Ned and Betsy they're driving to Nashville. Encourage them on that day. I remember I used to do a lot of traveling, and from time to time, it's been my wonderful privilege to stay in the homes of many of our Southern Baptist missionaries. And we were in Bangalore, India one time many years ago, and we were down at breakfast. We were all having breakfast together, and somebody came down and they were just bouncing around and seemed to be so filled with joy and happiness. And we'd been there for a week or so, but I leaned over to one of our new friends there and I said, "What's got into him? What's he up to?" He said, "Today is his birthday." I thought, okay. So is there going to be a party or anything like that? He says, "Oh no, we don't have time for that. It's his birthday." He said, "Don't you realize?" Now I don't know if they still do it. They might. I used to be deeply involved in RAs and GAs and ag teams, and the WMU and Brotherhood, and I hope that they still do it. But do you know the Southern Baptist Convention? They used to publish every year the missionaries' names and their birthdays. And on their birthday, they would ask all Southern Baptists all around the world. And there would be millions of people on that day. They don't know who you are. They said he's in India. And here's John Smith. He's in India. Today's his birthday. And he said, "God, I don't know John Smith, but I pray that you just bless him today." He says, today, that brother that you just saw come down to breakfast, he feels like he's bulletproof today. He said he believes that he could just move mountains. He says there are people all around the world who don't even know who he is. It's his birthday. He said we all feel that. We go through that. Pray for each other. Pray for each other. And send them little notes. I'm praying for you. Our Director of Missions, Ken Blackwood, I'll be working away and I'm answering calls and working with people. And I'll get a text on my phone every week. And it'll say, "Brother John, right now, I'm praying for you. And for your ministry and your family and your health." He said, "I'm praying for you." And helps me make it through that day a lot of times. So pray for each other. You don't have to be nosy or poke around each other's business, but you need to know what's going on with each other to encourage each other, help each other out. And sometimes when someone's going through a hard or difficult time, the fact that you know about it, and of course God knows about it. We don't have to tell God, but we're praying, and it helps. It helps. So pray for each other. Pray for each other. If you need help like I do, get you a prayer warrior guide. I try to mention names. If you ever see that I misspelled somebody's name, I've forgotten somebody, Johnny's got a son who's undergoing chemotherapy. Randy's had some family members who've had afflictions with their eyes and so forth, degenerative eye diseases and so forth. You've had children and grandchildren that are having difficult times, separated from loved ones, lots of things going on, lots of trials and tribulations. Pray for each other. And if you need a list, use that. Use that. All right, let's go on. I appreciate Carter. He's back there running the slides. Now, the video we were showing a while ago, it was about 2 years old. So it starts out by saying, Halloween, 31st of October, tricks and treats from 4 to 6 on that old video. I like to show that video because that was right after our parking lot had been repaved. It still looks really good, but it looked really good then. But we're on Halloween night. Monday night, October the 31st. We're going to be here giving away candy. When you go shopping, pick up some candy. Go over that candy aisle, that Halloween aisle, and get some candy. And bring it to us here so we have something to give away. We're going to say hi to all the people that drive by. We're going to give all the kids in the car some candy. And we're going to give them some copies of the Scriptures. And we're going to smile at them and say, hey! And we're going to try to get to know them and introduce ourselves. And want to see, who are you and how are you doing? We're glad that you're here. And when they drive by the Walnut Grove Baptist Church, we're going to think, there's some nice people there. They might change their opinion if they got to know us a little bit better, but they need grace by then. But this is a good ministry. It's one of the things that we do, and comes around once a year. We have no idea what the impact might be and how God might be using it, but pray for it. You know, over in Acts chapter 19, it says that Paul couldn't be everywhere at once, so sometimes they would just take some pieces of cloth or part of an apron or a handkerchief from Paul and take it over someplace, and the people who touched it were healed. So that's kind of what I do with candy and New Testaments. I pray over them. I pray over them. And when people get their hands on them, they're holding something that somebody has prayed over. Okay, let's go on forward. The Ronald's going to be here with us soon. Looking forward to that. And it'll be a good respite for us. Just a service of song. And he has a sermon too and a message. But pray for Jason and Braden as they make preparations to head our way soon, as they are many other places. The Runnels ministry is a part of what we do. It's a Walnut Grove Baptist Church ministry. They are our ambassadors. Pray for their safety and for their health and for opportunities and open doors and for more and more people to come to know Jesus through their ministry. All right, turn with me in your Bible to Mark's Gospel, chapter 1. Mark's Gospel, chapter 1. Jesus is starting his ministry. He's called a few disciples. And it says, now in the morning, having risen a long while before daylight, Jesus went out and departed to a solitary place. And there he prayed. And Simon and those who were with him searched for him. When they found him, they said to him, everyone is looking for you. You're always going to have at least one friend who talks like that. They're going to say, nobody likes that. What does that mean? That means I don't like it. It doesn't mean that nobody likes it. Probably somebody likes it, or everybody thinks that's a bad idea. Everybody doesn't think that's a bad idea. You think that's a bad idea, and you just don't have the courage to say, hey, I don't think that's a good idea. And sometimes people come to the pastor, even on Pastor Appreciation Day, and say, there's a lot of people unhappy about that. Tell me, are you unhappy about that? Look, I can't talk to everybody, and I don't know who everybody is. If you're gonna complain, or if you got a beef, if you got something to say it and own it. Say, this is me. This is mine. I don't like this. This makes me unhappy. I don't go along with this, or this is. That's what you got to do. Got to raise a ruckus or a row. Everybody's looking for you. You know what I found out in Christian ministry? Everybody is not looking for Jesus. They're just not. Everybody's not looking for Jesus. You can try to tell everybody about Jesus, and there are some people that will tell you, I ain't looking for Jesus. I ain't looking for Jesus. I don't want Jesus. Okay. Everybody is looking for you. Well, no. Peter, or whoever this was, saying, we were looking for you. I was looking for you. Let's look at the next slide. But he said to them, let's go to the next town, that I may preach there also, because for this purpose have I come forth. He didn't tell them where he'd been or what he'd been doing. He didn't explain himself. He didn't even respond to everybody's looking for you. He just said, okay, this is what we're going to do next. I find out that the Lord is a little aggravating kind of like that. I'm always wanting him to tell me where he's at and what he's up to. What is he doing? Where am I at? And he says, we're about to do something next. Well, what are we going to do next? And he turns around and goes, And I had to get caught up. He's really not all that interested in answering all your questions and giving an account to you and me. I listen to these televangelists sometimes, not much. And they say, me and the Lord was talking last night, and the Lord said, you know what? I'm thinking, that guy said that him and the Lord talk together all the time. The Lord tells him everything, and they're like that. And everybody in the congregation says, oh, well, that's good. I need to send him some money. Listen, when he was with the disciples, they were still saying, what? They never knew what was going on or where they was going to be. I like it in the series The Chosen. When things begin to roll, they say, all right, let's go to the big cities. And he says, no, we're going to Samaria. And he said, oh, no. I found a meme on Instagram this morning, and I put it on my Facebook. It is a meme from the woman at the well. And it says, he wasn't looking for water. He was looking for me. Woman at the well. He wasn't looking for water. He was looking for me. I went to Samaria and was talking to a woman of all things. We all know women are not very bright. Get there. Talking to a woman, my goodness. You know what he said to that woman? He had never said this to anybody. I mean, he was 30 years old. He was just beginning his ministry. And he had been in various places. A woman of Samaria, a Samaritan woman. You know what he said to her? I am he. She said, when the Messiah comes, he's going to do this, this, and this. And Jesus told that woman, his first person he ever told, I that speak to thee am he. Man. And he was preaching in their synagogue throughout all Galilee and casting out demons. Let's look at that last slide. Just one more slide. This is important. This is important. It kind of seems like one of the little passing things. You got up early in the morning and you went out to a deserted place, a solitary place, a quiet place, and he prayed. You know why you and I pray? Because we think we need to. Then why did Jesus pray? Did Jesus need to pray? You wouldn't think Jesus would need to pray, do you? Jesus needed to pray. The only reason I pray is when I need something or want something. I remember when I was still a young man, I was married and had started my own family. My daddy told me one day, he said, son, it's good to see you. He said, but the only time you ever come by here to see me is when you need something or you want something. Changed my life. Changed my whole life. I was smitten. I was stricken. I had just gotten old enough to kind of, that adult kind of sense was kicking in. I thought, yeah, you're right. You're right. The only time I ever come by here, if I say I need to go by Daddy's and borrow some money or need to help him fix my car, I said, you're right. I never let that happen again. Now when I look down at my phone and I see one of my kids, I say, oh my God. Oh no. You know what? They call their mama every day. When I get a call, it just scares, it gives me white hair. What hair is hanging on? This is very important. This is where Jesus got what he needed to do what he came to do. What needed to be. This is right here. This is where he got it. This is where, and you know, it doesn't mention it every time he did this, but I believe he probably did this every day. Sneaked off somewhere. Where's the Lord? Where'd Jesus go? Looking around. I don't know. He's gone somewhere. He lit out, snuck off. I guess they kind of got used to it after a while. That's why the Garden of Gethsemane is one of the holiest places I've ever stood in my whole life. Now, I've stood beside Calvary. But in the Garden of Gethsemane is where he made up his mind. That's where he made up his mind, right there. It's okay. Okay. You know, the disciples that night were so supportive. They encouraged him a lot.
They fell asleep on him.
That's right. Jesus loved his disciples. We talk about Hosea and Gomer. I love Terry Evans Bain. But I read the book of Hosea and I say, let her go. That's what I say to a lot of country music. Oh, she left me. Let her go. Tell her goodbye. Show her the door. Buy her a ticket. Get you another one if you want one, or if you don't. Bye. And God is saying, no. God says, I'm willing to make your life miserable to get you to come back to me. I will not take anything less than you coming back to me. I wouldn't die for you. I might die for some of you. I figure Danny's grown up enough he could die for himself. Probably is too. Well, my granddaughters probably, I'd say, all right, you're gonna have to, if you're going to get to them, you got to come through me. But I wouldn't die for any of you. And I love you. I do love you. To a point, I couldn't do what God did. I just couldn't. I wouldn't. Just wouldn't do it. If somebody, if I was God, said, you know, they're all leaving me. I just let them go. Send them to hell. Every last one of them. Burn. I used to have a professor in seminary. He'd say, fry like a sausage. Let them fry like a sausage. God said, no. He and I don't get it. I don't understand it. Jesus loved his disciples. He loved people. But he didn't get what he needed from them. He didn't get what he needed from his mom or his earthly daddy. He didn't get what he needed from his brothers and his sisters. He didn't, I mean, look at what he needed. Look at what he needed. Look at what he was going to do and what he needed to get that done. This is where he got it, right here. He got it straight from God. He got it in, this is where he got it. This is where the power of God came into his life. You don't get it in church. You don't get it in a fellowship. You don't get it from other people. It doesn't matter how wonderful the fellowship is or how wonderful the worship is. You are not going to be able to get what you need to get you through the valley of the shadow of death. You've got to get it like this. There's no other way. There's no other way. If you don't have this in your life, it may be the reason your life lacks power and grit and gristle and backbone. This, when Jesus came back here, he could face the day and he said, all right, let's do this now. I'm ready now. This is important. If Jesus needed this, you and I needed more. I'm glad you sang, I need thee every hour. If you don't have a time in your life when you turn everything off, shut everything down, and get away from everybody, where it's just you and God. So many Christians hate doing that. They can hear their own thoughts. They can hear the thoughts of God. And the sound of quiet, and the sound of silence, and the sound of stillness is the very last thing in the world they want to be alone with. We've got to learn how to do that. We've got to learn how to do that, because that's where Jesus got everything he needed to fulfill his mission and to do what he came to do what God wanted him to do. It's aloneness. It's not all of us togetherness. When God saved you, he saved you all by yourself. When he takes you to heaven, you may have a whole room full of people standing around your bed. When you die, you're going to die alone. Amen. Yeah. We've got to learn solitariness, aloneness. We've got to crave it. We've got to seek it out. We've got to hunger for it. No, I've got to do this. If I don't do this, I can't do anything else. This is where we get it. You can't get it from me. You can't get it from reading the Bible or just prayer alone. You can't get it from worship or fellowship, singing wonderful gospel songs. You can't get it from each other, even the people that you have the greatest admiration for. You can only get it like Jesus got it. Believe me when I tell you this. It is a discipline that you and I must have. And it's harder to pursue in this day and age than perhaps it's ever been before. There's so much noise. There's so much interruption, so much intrusion. We go out and eat every Friday night, and we showed up to eat Friday night. Danny was there by himself. Evidently, Liz said, "No, I'm tired of y'all. I haven't been feeling too good, and y'all are just too much tonight." So Liz wasn't there. And I thought, well, that's a good choice. And I felt envious of her, so I wish I was like that too. I didn't want to come either. I'm getting more like my mom, and my family's having to beg me to go places now. You need to get out. You need to go. And I say, no. My daddy's in there too, and he says, you know what would help you feel a whole lot better? A nap. Yeah, you just take a nap. I know it would help you. I think, Daddy, you're right. I want to close with a story, but I don't want you to tell anybody. Don't tell Terry. Okay? Okay? Just nod. For years, Saturday's an important day for me. Saturday is a special day. We do lots of family things, but that's with all the study and preparation and things that I've done for Sunday. Saturday's the day where it's got a gel. I don't use any notes. I don't have a manuscript. It's got a, if it's not there, it'll come. I don't read anything off much. So Saturday it's got to come together. So for many years, I'm going to tell you, it's real simple. It's not really very spiritual. But here's the spiritual element right here. Hardee's has the best pork chop biscuit that I've ever eaten. It's just really good. It's fried pork chop, a big old cat ear biscuit. And for years, I go to the same Hardee's every Saturday. I'll get up. I don't have to get up on Saturday, but I'll get up. I know I got to get there before they start serving breakfast. So I go to Hardee's and I get me a pork chop biscuit and some hash browns and orange juice. I get the same thing. I've been doing it for years. I just drive down there. I don't play the radio while I drive. I don't take any phone calls. drive in the quiet. And I drive Hardee's, the same Hardee's for all these years. Now, several months ago, I pulled up and I said, I thought they'd know me by now, but I'm really a nobody. I said, I want a pork chop biscuit, hash browns, and an orange juice. You know what that little girl said?
Right.
She said, we don't sell pork chop biscuits anymore. And I said, what? I'm sorry, sir, that was a limited time. I said, limited time? It's been years. You know, you get kind of like that. But we don't have pork chop biscuits anymore. All right. My time of meditation was becoming marred. And I said, okay, give me a steak biscuit. You got steak biscuits? Oh, yes, sir. I want a steak biscuit, hash browns, and an orange juice. And I know the orange juice is going to send my blood sugar just right through the roof. And I'm just going to say, I don't care. I want orange juice. Been doing it for years. Saturday morning. And I'll go over there and I'll pull over in the parking lot of a shopping mall or something. Sit there. And I'll turn everything off. And I'll just sit there and I'll just eat that as slowly as I can possibly chew. And just enjoy that. And as far as I know, unless Terry knows about this, nobody in the whole world knows where I'm at. But I'm at the mall, so if I die in my car, they'll at least find me by the end of the day probably. So I'm all right, I'm good. Yesterday, I got up, doing my thing, doing my Saturday thing. I usually, after I finish eating, I come here to church and I kind of look around, put some things in place, get some things prepared, make some photographs or videos, look around, and enjoy the quiet here. About the only part people that ever aggravate me here are the Reeves. If they're cutting the grass, get on my nerves. Got to go out and say hey to them, or they'll think I'm being uppity. Hey! Hey. And they're thinking, which preacher to leave us alone? We've got to get this grass cut. They do a good job. So I pulled up there yesterday, went in there, and I said, I want a steak biscuit, hash browns, and orange juice. She says, we don't have a steak biscuit. And I look at the menu. There are people behind me. I'm thinking, okay, I'll have a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. And they didn't even have hash browns. They just had potato fries. Weren't even French fries, potato fries. And I at least had orange juice. Okay, that'll be $7.07. All right. So I pull up, and man, I'm just really not in a very good mood at all. This quiet time is really not doing me any good. And I give her my credit card and everything, and I didn't say howdy, how you doing, or Jesus loves you, or anything. And I'm just sitting there, I'm just really getting in a funk. I got my sack and got my drink and put it down there. I'm about to pull away, and right next to the drive-up window, there's a little panel right there. You know what it had? It had a picture on it of a little red-haired, freckle-faced girl with pigtails. I was at Wendy's. I was at Wendy's.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm not going to be allowed to go out by myself much longer.
That is hilarious.
But you promised not to tell anybody about this. So I said, I'm at Wendy's. And I know when I ordered hash browns, that little girl turned around and said, this idiot thinks he's at Hardee's. My mood improved almost immediately, and I actually enjoyed my Wendy's breakfast. I went over and parked in the parking lot, and I ate it. And I was embarrassed, and I felt very, very old. I'm thinking, I need someone to take care of me. I don't need to be out driving around by myself, telling where I'll wind up. But I did find my way here to the church, and my mood improved. And next Saturday, I'm going to be very, very careful to go to Hardee's. I'm going to do it on purpose. If my mind escapes me, and that is my greatest fear, I have nightmares about it. I tell Terry, I said, I had a dream last night that I just went away. That happens. I've had dear, precious friends and loved ones who just went away. Just went away. I said, with all that I've studied and everything I've read and all that I've seen and all that I love, it could just go away. If it all goes away, I hope there's one thing that I still cherish. That's in the emptiness of my mind. I know that He is there. Yeah, He is there. I was watching a video last night, and it was these two women. One of them was very old, and one of them was, I guess, about my age. And the heading had already said that this was a woman feeding her mother. She had a little bowl there, and she was feeding her with a spoon. Her mother suffers from dementia. And she was just, her mother was there, and her face was very solemn and very blank. And she was chewing the last bite. And her daughter was there very patiently, just giving her another bite. And in the process of taking that spoonful and chewing, something compelled her to look up. And she looked into the face of her daughter. And the light came on. She looked at her daughter's face. And she said, I love you. I love you. And the tears began to run down her face. A moment of knowing and clarity and seeing. She said, Mama, I love you too. It's all right. It's going to be all right. We're talking to each other. We're both going to be all right. Seek Him out. Find Him, just you and Him. Come to know what that's like. When you get to heaven, nobody's going to have to say, that's Jesus. You say, you fool. I know who that is. I know who that is. Lord Jesus, thank you for your goodness and grace. Why do we have to be compelled or taught or inspired or stirred to seek you out, to track you down, to go to where there's nobody but me and you? Why do we have to be told to do that? Why do we fail to seek you out? Why have we forgotten, or have we ever known that that's where we get everything we need? If there is someone today who doesn't know this sweet hour of prayer, I pray that they would find it and seek it out for the rest of their life. It is just a taste. It's just a taste of what awaits us for when we get to be there with you. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Amen. Brother Danny, what's our hymn of invitation today? 4:15. I don't know how this message might have spoken to you today or what that verse of Scripture might mean to you. But let me just say, if God's spoken to your heart today, say yes to Him. Let's stand together, and as we sing, if God's spoken to your heart, you say yes to Him.
The cross upon which Jesus died is a shelter in which we can hide. His grace so free is sufficient for me, and His its fountain as wide as the sea. There's room at the cross for you. There's room at the cross for you. Though millions have gone, there's still room for one. There's room at the cross for you.
Danny Ward didn't want to be undone by his father singing last Sunday, so Danny's going to sing for us this morning. Danny, whatever you got, just come on.
No, he didn't. You would tell your secret if you keep that up.
All right. Amen. All right. Let's go out into a beautiful day. And has anybody got anything else to say? If Danny's not going to sing for us, that kind of leaves us a little time right here. If we need to fill this in. I've heard Andrew sing. Andrew, you still playing the guitar, Andrew?
I struggled a little bit this weekend. Just trying to practice here and there.
Don't let it go. Don't let it go. I'm going to buy a new instrument soon, and I'm going to bring it here. It'll just bless your heart. It's like a bag of cats, and I can hardly wait. Anything at all? All right, God bless you. Go with the grace, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Pray in touch with each other.